Welcome back from that. It's wonderful to know you're right there, and I hope you enjoyed Dr. James Komolafer's very interesting holistic management tips, holistic lifestyle protocol tips, rather, where he always reminds you that what happens internally is just as important as what happens externally. So take cognizance of your mental health. Ensure that you protect it with everything that you've got. Now we're moving forward to talk about the renewed hope of the government. You know, this administration came with that interesting mantra, renewed hope. And indeed, a lot of Nigerians thought this was an opportunity to get better, see that change that we wanted, renew our hope. Well, this administration promised transformative policies, the policy trust, and repositioning Nigeria as a prime global investment hub. Has that indeed happened? Well, that's a very good question right there. Has it indeed happened? That's a question a lot of Nigerians are asking, because we are groaning all over economic challenges. Where is the government's mind in this? Is there light at the end of the tunnel? That's the conversation we'll be having. In the studio to discuss all of this is someone whose profile is quite long, but I'll try to shorten it. Ambassador Musa Muhammad Sokan. He's the National President, APC Initiative for Good Governance, National Coordinator, One Nation, One Fertilizer for Renewed Hope Agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Vice President Kashima, former Coordinator, Presidential Campaign Council, Taraba State Directorate of Northeast Grassroots Engagement and Orientation. He has so much more, but I think so that we do not exhaust the entire time for this interview talking about that, will end right there. Thank you so much for coming to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's always wonderful to have you, Ambassador. Now let's go to the many initiatives that this government has brought upon us. I mean, there was that need or promise that our hope will be renewed. Before we get into specific policies, what would you say the government's mind is at the moment, and the people as well? Are they getting impact from the renewed hope mantra, not even the agenda or policies, mantra? Are our hopes renewed?
Yeah, definitely the issue of a renewed hope agenda is something that is very much achievable. It's a strategic, conceptual strategic plan of action of the government of the day in order to leverage and to ensure that the masses of this country have it right. So already some aspects of the Renew Hope agenda has gained success in the area of agriculture and food security. We have a very viable and very much confident and loyal person to the party and the nationalist to the peak. Talking about Senator Habuchari, who is the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. He has so many things on the table to offer for Nigerians. You can see a lot of social investment program have been earmarked, and it has boomerang, and other issue follow it, and in that section people are getting it right.
In the agricultural section?
Pardon?
In the agricultural, when you say
in the agricultural sector, there are so many policies and programs that is targeted at improving the life of the Nigerian citizen, most especially the agricultural productivity. Is aimed at boosting the agricultural productivity of the country in order to increase the GDP of the country. You know, our much reliance on the petroleum sector, on the oil sector, have draw us back a bit in the production. But the government of the day, knowing fully that majority of Nigeria key into agricultural sector, which is the much important and much targeted area that will leverage this, the suffering and mitigate the hunger that is going on in the world. It's not only in Nigeria. So how do we tackle that? How do we deal with that? we have to approach it from the root. And it's by that that the federal government deemed it fit to come out with this issue of food security, which the government is doing a lot to ensure that food get to the table of a common man by encouraging productivity in the agricultural sector. So there are so many things that is online, and it's fragmented and segmented in stages. And as time unfolds, they will come to play. And
Ambassador, this is what we keep hearing from the APC. So much is in the pipeline. It will eventually get to us. But when would it get to us? Because we are recording. Look at, okay, let's talk about the agricultural sector that you have spotlighted.
Yeah.
Agricultural produce are now so expensive. Well, I, for one, cannot understand why. Because when you say availability, these products are indeed there. It's not that you go to the market and you say that, oh, I did not see tomatoes to buy. I did not see pepper to buy. It's available, but it's so expensive. So what would you say that this government has done to mitigate, productivity and supply in the agricultural sector, just so that the common man would be able to afford pepper?
There are several programs and policies that are still evolving and emerging, and federal government have made this country so conducive to allow other investors to come and invest in Nigeria. I'm quite aware of several and so many programs that the federal government is engaging and partnering with other countries of the world in order to increase agricultural productivity. Just of recent, the visit of the Saudi Arabian agriculture minister and the MD of SALIC, that is Saudi Arabia, I think livestock and agriculture company, that their main target is to partner with Nigeria in order to increase productivity in the agricultural sector. It's because of the enabling ground that is created by the government of the day. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is someone who has, skills and acumen in the government, cycle. He has experience, and he didn't feel that the only way for Nigeria to boost her productivity is to incorporate other countries and companies. I'm also aware of a company, a reputable company known as Linico. Linico are into agro-pack, and they're into meat value chain, and several other, companies of this nature
this administration has successfully attracted.
They are about to. They have already adopted and attracted so many other companies already. You see, the Mr. President have traveled to Netherlands and Saudi Arabia and so many other parts of the Western world. And what Mr. President is doing is to create a kind of leveling ground where all these countries will come and invest in Nigeria, all with the aim of making things easy.
Right. Would you say that there is a good enough business environment, like a fruitful business environment for anybody to come do business? There's nobody who will come out of emotions. All the people we are trying to bring, or foreign direct investments we are trying to attract to the country, would also look at the security situation of the country, the business, what's it called now, the bottlenecks when it comes to getting licensing and all of that, which is the biggest problem that expatriates face when they come to do business in Nigeria. The corruption as well. Have we brought, where are we when it comes to business environment? There's a certain word that just keeps escaping me right now, the viability of our business environment here, so that when they come, it's not just telling them to come out of emotions or sentiments. No business person does that. Let them come to do business because they want to make profit, which would in turn bring productivity and employability for our young people.
You can see the issue of taxation had been, leveraged, and all this is done with the intention of attracting foreign investors. And even within the country, there are people who are ready to key into business that have to do with agro and so many other sectors. And the policies and programs of the government of the day is leveraging towards ensuring that those businesses are promoted in order to mitigate the suffering of the people. When all this food are being available in the substantial and in the substantial and commercial commercial standard, it will be easier and it will be cheaper for people to purchase. The rises in the price of the commodities
right,
is not only here in Nigeria. Other countries are also
it's a global trend, right?
Global challenges. But the federal government, or let me say the Renew Hope agenda, is strategically being formed in order to see that the masses of this country get it right.
Ambassador, we're talking impact. We're talking impact on everyone. Today we're talking about the hula baloo, the back and forth the federal government is having with NLC just to come up with the appropriate digits, the amount that will be paid as minimum wage to Nigerians. The president has asked for an opportunity for wider consultations. A lot of people are saying wider consultations. We've been back and forth for several months. Come up with a number already, and Nigerians are groaning. You can, I'm sure it doesn't affect you so much, but some of us actually are groaning. Having to buy petrol and move around has become so expensive. Not to mention going to the markets to just buy food is expensive. If that multi-dimensional poverty index that was done a couple of months ago, I think about 2 years ago, is done today, I don't know if it will still be 133 million Nigerians multi-dimensionally poor. So when can we see this impact? It seems like after 1 year, things have gotten even worse. When you hear Nigerians groan, and legitimately so, what do you tell them? As an APC member, of course.
You see, first of all, I have to acknowledge the fact that people are undergoing some hardship. There's no doubt about it. But the policies and programs of the government of the day, I earlier said, is strategically, earmarked and targeting the common man. Every nation of the world rely on the services that is rendered to the citizenry in order to improve the standard of their living. And by so doing, it means improvement in the economics growth and economic development of the whole, particular that country. So policies that are, implemented is to leverage and mitigate the suffering of the people. You talk about the minimum wage. People have to understand that there is services that government is rendering to the people and will continue to render. It's not all about the money, the wages alone. There are people who are not even government workers. But we know actually that whatsoever affects the worker, the public servants, it directly or indirectly affects the common man on the street. But people also have to know that government have some services to render to the common man, like construction of roads, provision of medical health care, and agriculture, as we have earlier mentioned, security and other sectors as well, environmental challenges, and so many other areas. These are areas to which government is focusing to ensure that people are living a kind of life that is socially acceptable and socially okay
Well,
and also to improve their own economic situation.
When you read about countries like Kenya that's going through so much protest, one that has seen the death of about 7 people, this is because the government is introducing a tax bill that the people are standing against. And then you look at Nigeria, where first of all fuel subsidy was removed, and then the attendant economic challenges that came with them, not to mention there was no proper transportation plan. The CNG that has been promised by this administration, there were supposed to be several CNG buses, and that was supposed to lighten the burden for people. That we have not seen it yet. Even the CNG that some of us are willing to do, I can go ahead and convert my vehicle, but where do I get refuel easily? That's my problem. And so I'm like, okay, until government gets us more converting or rather refuel stations across, and that's the issues a lot of Nigerians are having at the moment. So it seems like the government is promising and promising and promising, and things are getting worse at the moment. So for those who are listening to you and you're promising once again, telling us the government has his mind in the right place, what would you say to them to get patient?
You have already mentioned the word.
Right. But beyond just saying patient, like the governor, the president said, be patient. Oh, it's teething period. Oh, it's a pregnancy period. Beyond all of that, what would you say that is not insensitive? Because we're also seeing government officials, this profligacy that is happening. They are extravagantly showing monies and all of that.
Let me give you an analogy.
Right.
And people have to focus their minds on that. A country is just like a car that needs services. And the cost of maintaining the car is just like the cost of maintaining or servicing the car as well. Things have gone up. The cost of commodities have gone up high everywhere in the world. And for the country to maintain her, status quo, in order to ensure that the masses have it right, there are several other things to take into cognizance. And that is the service deliveries. Government have to focus on. So I think that the issue of labor you brought in here, I think I have to appeal with the labor to know that both the labor and the federal government are serving, what the people say, they are serving the same ideology and principle, and that is to better the life of the Nigerian citizenry.
Okay, so labor has in its mind to better the lives of the citizens.
Yes, of course.
Government also has that. So why are we not seeing? Because I mean, if we are of the same mind, we should not even have any quarrel whatsoever. We will just agree. Why are we then seeing the issues still persisting?
Government are the employer of labor. Labor, in the other hand, are the one offering services to the government, and in that dealings, there should be, or as it is going, there are several negotiation and arbitration and a kind of consensus in order to reach a certain level. And I believe this one have to go with a kind of diplomacy and decorum. The federal government is the employer of the labor. In that aspect, there should be a serious and well targeted line to which is like an equilibrium,
right,
where both the labor and the government will meet there. And the target of the government is to provide essential services. The government is saying that no, we are not only paying salary and we stop there. No, there are other things we have to do. So I think what the labor have to be hammering on is also on this provision, the service provision.
Not just
the improvement in the services,
right,
to
not
the people,
just
not just the issue of the money.
Right.
They should go along also advocating for the improved services to the people, like in the area of security, the area of agriculture, the area of education, the area of health. They should be focusing on that, having in mind that it's not everybody that is a government worker. So if you said let the money, the whole money of the country goes on paying the government workers, what of the service delivery? So they should also be looking at. I'm also in line and supporting the fact that there should be increments in the salary scale, considering the cost of commodities in the market.
Right.
But they should also be looking at and targeting increment or increase in the service provision in the country, so that the people, the masses, will have the rights.
Right.
Yeah.
If I let you go, because we're really running out of time, you have been very active in the agricultural sector, and a lot of people are saying, you know what, we all have to look inwards and try to fix the country by getting into the agricultural sector. Where do you stand in that? Do you think we should all join the agricultural bandwagon?
Agriculture for time immemorial has been the greatest provider of job. Yes. And employment.
Is that still the statistics as we speak today in Nigeria?
You know, it's something that everyone have to key into it. Everybody have to key into the issue of agriculture in order to make substantial availability of food and sustainable as that range as well. There's one thing for the food to be substantial enough is one thing, but for the food to also be available and stand a test of time
is another thing.
So all of us have to join hands and become farmers. Yes.
Wow,
that is why there was a declaration in the issue of this food security.
Right.
So all of us have to join hands together in order to improve the agricultural productivity of the country, which is adequately going to improve the GDP.
I must thank you so much for being part of the program. It's been wonderful talking about the renewed hope agenda of the government, the minimum wage as well, and agriculture. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Well, at this point, we'll go join the Investment Plus segment that will give us those very important financial management tips. And after that, we have lined up yet another interview, this time focusing on education for all. We'll be right back after this short break.